The CDC now says masks protect more than just people around you. Norman officials hold a press conference regarding COVID-19. And OU's GEC is holding a drive for the Women's Resource Center. This is OU Nightly. Hello, thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Chloe Sparks.
And I'm Kayla Davis. Tonight we begin with another reason the CDC says you should wear a mask. CNN's Mandy Gaither has more on the agency's new guidance.
For months, you've been hearing the same thing.
Please, wear a face covering when you go out in public.
Now the CDC says wearing a mask can help protect you, not just those around you. In new guidance this week, the CDC says masks act as a source control to block virus particles exhaled by the wearer and provides filtration for personal protection by blocking incoming infectious droplets from others. The agency cites a number of studies showing that masks reduce the risk of transmitting or catching the virus by more than 70% in various instances.
My message to you is wear your face covering, and if somebody around you isn't wearing their face covering, let them know that they're putting you at risk also.
Leading health experts say if Americans would consistently wear a mask, keep up with social distancing, avoid crowds, and wash hands, the country will be much better off in the war against COVID-19. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The CDC also says masks, multiple layers of cloth with higher thread counts have proven to be more effective at preventing the virus's spread.
And Oklahoma faces another all-time high with 1,279 COVID-19 hospitalizations today. The Oklahoma State Department of Health reports close to 2,700 new cases, adding to the current active cases, which are just over 24,000. There are also 12 new deaths, which makes the number of deaths to 1,493.
And the coronavirus pandemic is still consuming America, not just Oklahoma. Today marks another record for new daily cases, surpassing 150,000 for the first time. And since Monday, the United States has added 500,000 cases. The Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation now predicts the country could see more than 2,200 deaths per day by mid-January. After beating down its curve in the spring, states like Michigan are now facing a dire situation.
This is the worst week of COVID we've ever had. And 2 weeks from now, we are going to see our numbers continue to climb without significant action.
According to the CDC, nearly 40,000 Americans could lose their lives to COVID-19 in the next 3 weeks.
Norman City officials held a press conference this morning concerning the recent spike in COVID cases. Lindsey Gibbs was there and has the story.
Norman officials say they've been reactive instead of proactive when it comes to dealing with the pandemic. In the meeting, Mayor Bree Clark says that local businesses are struggling and our healthcare workers are taking a toll. Norman regional physicians stress the need to wear a mask as well as getting a flu shot to avoid a twindemic. Many people are getting the virus from a family member or friend who is asymptomatic, but Dr. Brasler says the majority of cases are coming from rural communities, not from the university. Officials say Norman Regional does have available beds and is not yet having to transfer COVID patients, but with cases already reaching the numbers predicted for Thanksgiving, medical workers still worry.
Difficult for the staff, and yes, they are fatigued. I would use words like anxious, scared. I would ask you, if I could provide you with PPE, would you go into a room with an active COVID patient who's coughing, short of breath, provide them care, brush their teeth, help them go to the bathroom?
Mayor Bree Clark says we will be seeing a vaccine soon. The city is working closely with the CDC for updates on when that will become available. For now, we're reporting live outside Norman Regional Hospital. Lindsey Gibbs, OU Nightly.
Thank you, Lindsey. And as far as coronavirus goes, we just heard from President Trump. Haley Weger has that story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world.
Thanks, Chloe. And President Trump spoke today for the first time since he was projected to lose the 2020 election. In the press conference, Trump announced that 2 COVID vaccines and 2 therapeutics may be granted emergency use authorization before the end of 2020. Operation Warp Speed has been dedicated to creating COVID vaccines and therapeutics since May. Trump says that the vaccines will go to the elderly and immunocompromised first and will hopefully be available to all Americans by April. Contrary to President-elect Joe Biden, Trump also announces that his administration will not go into lockdown. President Donald Trump initially led in Georgia, but as the numbers came in, it was clear that the state was flipping blue. Former Vice President Joe Biden is now projected to win in Georgia once a recount of all the votes is complete. The recount is not expected to be finished until next week, but even if the margin doesn't change, the Trump campaign can request an additional hand recount. Biden will be the first Democratic presidential candidate to win the state of Georgia in 28 years. And an Arkansas police officer was killed in the line of duty last night. Reports say the officers were at a motel in Helena, West Helena, Arkansas, responding to a tip about a suspect wanted in a shooting in November. When the officials arrived to the motel, a car pulled up and opened fire. Officer Travis Wallace was rushed to the hospital where he died from the injuries. 2 suspects were arrested in the fatal shooting this morning in Mississippi. Chloe and Kayla, back to you guys.
Thanks, Haley. And Chloe, in the fall, you never really know what weather is coming.
You don't. It's hot, then it's cold, then it's raining, then it's snowing. Luckily, Jack Maney has us covered for what we can expect this weekend and going into next week.
That's right, Kayla. I'm currently tracking our next wave of rain and storms that's going to be coming in tonight. You can see on the radar here, we can see showers and thunderstorms starting to develop across south central Oklahoma, and these are starting to spread to the north. There's a few showers that have been going down by Ardmore for the last several hours, and a few new storms that have popped up by Norman and on the west side of Oklahoma City, and those are going to continue building in for tonight. We'll have rain tonight and then a weekend cold front followed by a mild week. I'll have all the details coming up in just a few minutes.
And if you're looking to go to law school, OU Law is now one of the top on the list.
This and the other college's latest honors when we return.
And the Gender and Equality Center here at OU is hosting a product drive.
Find out how you can get involved when we get back.
An OU higher education department has moved up in the rankings. The National Jurist magazine named the OU College of Law as a top 5 school for best value. The rankings are based off of percentage of graduates who pass the bar exam, unemployment rate, tuition, cost of living, and average debt upon graduation. OU Law is ranked 5th in the nation out of over 200 law schools. This is one of many awards for the College of Law. Included in the honors are a top 50 law school rank, the highest bar passage rate in the state, and ranking number 16 in employment out of the nation.
You know, it's really something. I think that it's a recognition of the hard work that our students, our faculty and staff have done on the fundamentals. And if you can get the fundamentals right, everything else works.
OU Law is the only Oklahoma school in the top 10 of the National Jurist rankings.
OU Gender and Equality Center is hosting a product drive for the Women's Resource Center. OU Nightly's Grace Whitten has more about why this drive is so important, especially during the pandemic.
From now until November 24th, the OU Gender and Equality Center is accepting a range of donations. The items most in need include menstrual products, new clothing items, and toiletries.
We want people to use this drive as a way to give back to the Mormon community. Also, we hope that it's a very accessible way to get involved with the Women's Resource Center by giving them the most needed items that they need for these coming months.
Oklahoma ranks 3rd in the nation for the highest homicide rates of female victims. Now COVID-19 has only added to the problem.
COVID has definitely made it more dangerous for victims in domestic violence situations. Not having a place to go that's safe to escape the danger and the legality of domestic violence has been has had serious implications for victims.
The donations from OU are going to the Women's Resource Center here in Norman. The nonprofit says they are grateful that OU students are coming together to help women in domestic violence and sexual violence situations.
We just really can't do the services that we do without the community support.
Members of the OU community can donate items at the Oklahoma Memorial Union. Grace Whitten, OU Nightly.
And if you missed the deadline to donate to the GEC, the Women's Resource Center also accepts donations and volunteers year-round.
Fans of the ABC's The Bachelor will not want to miss this.
You can now experience the well-known Bachelor Mansion for yourself. Stick around to find out how to book the mansion.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. We're looking at our skyline cam over downtown Oklahoma City, and just a few hours ago, this was showing bright sunshine with just a few clouds. Those clouds have definitely thickened up, and that is a precursor to what we're expecting our weather change to be coming into tonight. That temperature is not quite right. The real temperature outside is about 59 degrees in Oklahoma City. Having a little glitch there. But our live radar, we're looking outside at our radar with some cloud cover starting to stream in from the west and northwest, and showers and thunderstorms building their way up from the south. You can see down by Norman, we've got a few showers starting to develop, and then especially down by Ardmore, these are starting to fill in, and they are going to continue to do that for the rest of the night. We're expecting a pretty decent wave of rain to come through the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. Right now, our current temperatures across the state, we've got 59 here in Norman, a little bit cooler off to the north and northwest with warmer temperatures towards the south and southeast, and that's the fuel for those storms that we're going to see tonight. Our future radar, we've got those showers and thunderstorms ongoing right now. They build in, and we're expecting a larger wave of storms to come in around 10 p.m. tonight, and then a secondary wave generates through the wee hours of the morning and into tomorrow morning around 7 a.m. Once we're done with those, they're gone by about noon, and then we're dealing with sunny skies for the rest of the day. Those storms that come through tonight, though, we're expecting a little bit of severe weather possible in far eastern Oklahoma, a slight risk, level 2 out of 5 in effect for far eastern Oklahoma. And then behind those storms, we're expecting a cold front to come in from the northwest. This shows about 3 p.m. on Saturday. That rolls through, giving us cooler temperatures for Sunday. Looking ahead into the rest of the week, 70s on Saturday, 50s on Sunday, and then we start for a warming trend towards the end of next week.
Thank you, Jack. You know what they say, one man's loss is another man's treasure. Since the filming of The Bachelor has been interrupted by the coronavirus pandemic, the coveted mansion is up for rent on Airbnb.
With 7 bedrooms, 8.5 baths, a pool, and 2 jacuzzis. But don't get too excited. Living like the lovers will set you back a steep $6,000 a night.
And for the last time, this anchor duo is turning it over to Big Friday Sports.
Thanks for watching OU Nightly News on Fridays. Dylan Rivera, for the last time, take us home.
Today on Big Friday Sports, we talk about the impact COVID has had on this week's slate of games. But of the games remaining, we'll give you our picks for what to watch. Don't go anywhere. Big Friday Sports is next.
Offset is Brooks.
Knock, knock. Who's there? It's us. It's Big Friday Sports. I'm Sofia Olivas.
And I'm disappointed in what just happened. No, I'm kidding. But yes, it's Big Friday Sports. I'm Dylan Rivera.
All jokes aside, we have a great show lined up for you today.
Starting off, OU football is on a bye week this week, but upcoming is an opponent Sooner Nation knows all too well.
Yeah, Dylan, it's never too early for the Bedlam watch to start. It's Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. But it's tough to call it a rivalry when the series record is so lopsided.
OU leads the all-time series 89-18 with 7 ties, and the Sooners have won the last 5 over the Pokes from Stilley.
This time it's the Cowboys who are half a game up on OU in the Big 12 standings. So I bet you Coach is just fine with having an extra week to prepare. Now, speaking of the Pokes, they are enjoying a bye week as well, as there is only 2 games in the conference slate this weekend.
An early kickoff has the Horned Frogs of TCU visiting Morgantown, West Virginia for a battle with the Mountaineers. And at 3, it's the Baylor Bears clashing with the Texas Tech Red Raiders in Lubbock.
Now, COVID has run rampant through the NCAA once again.
This week alone, 4 SEC games involving 4 ranked teams have been postponed.
In the Big 12, an outbreak in Maryland forced the cancellation of its game against number 3 Ohio State, and this game will not be rescheduled.
But for those who are gearing up to play this week, there's plenty of exciting matchups. Sophia, what's your game to watch?
I agree. Listen, well, I'm excited to check out number 2 Notre Dame at Boston College. I don't project an upset, but I do expect a good game. On Halloween, Boston gave Clemson a scare, so in contrast to last year's Notre Dame game, I see Boston putting the pressure on the Fighting Irish. But ultimately, Notre Dame leaves this one with a W.
I'm taking it back home. H.A. Chapman Stadium in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The 19th ranked SMU Mustangs and the Golden Hurricanes of TU. Tulsa has already upset the UCF Golden Knights and nearly upset Oklahoma State in Week 1, so picking the Canes over SMU isn't too crazy. The Mustangs, however, are averaging 40.5 points per game, so a win won't come easy for TU.
Now there's a victory in sports for women today as the barrier breaks. Some news from the Marlins front office.
And when we return, find out where a former Sooner sits on the leaderboard after day 2 of the Masters.
Welcome back to Big Friday Sports. Today we've seen one small step for women and one giant leap for women in sports. The Miami Marlins have made history in hiring Kim Ng as their new general manager. She has more than 30 years of experience in the MLB and broke into the sport as an intern with the White Sox in 1990. 8 postseason appearances, 6 league championships, and 3 World Series titles later, Ng is now the highest ranking woman of all baseball operations.
Day 2 at Augusta National has seen plenty of exciting action from some of the biggest names. Justin Thomas hit a fantastic shot on 16 that nearly snuck its way into the hole. Rory McIlroy went 6 under today to get on the right side of the scorecard and is now 3 under through 2 days. Tiger Woods teed off a couple hours ago and is even par through 10 holes for a total of 4 under. But the biggest news is OU alum Abraham Answer tied for the lead with Cam Smith, Dustin Johnson, and Justin Thomas at 9 under.
Now, as we head towards the college basketball season, the world of sports is still navigating social justice.
Matt Bowling shows us how one OU coach is using his platform to make a difference.
With social justice back at the forefront of the American consciousness after months of protests, many in the sports world are figuring out ways to do their part to keep the conversation going. The NBA allowed each player to choose from a list of messages to put on the backs of their jerseys and painted Black Lives Matter on the court during its stay in the playoff bubble. A little more than a month away from the start of their season, the OU men's basketball team is discussing ways they might follow their professional counterparts' example.
It's a topic, I would say, daily, before practice, after practice, and the coaching staff sent us out some stuff we could put on the back of our warm-up jerseys.
OU assistant coach Carlin Hartman has been working especially hard to create change. This summer, he joined San Francisco head coach Todd Golden and a few of Golden's assistants to form the Coaches Coalition for Progress. The coalition says its mission is to provide more resources to underserved kids and foster community relationships.
Right now, we're concentrating on the Boys and Girls Club of Oakland. And once we can raise enough money to do the things that we want to do at that organization, then we'll move forward with other platforms around the country.
At OU, Hartman has already organized a Q&A with local police officers for his players and helped get the entire team registered to vote. He credits his superiors with enabling him to make a difference.
To be able to have this platform, Coach Kruger's allowed me to do it within our program. It's been nothing but, special.
Promoting unity on and off the court. Matt Bowling, OU Nightly.
For more basketball coverage, we'll be starting a brand new basketball version of Game Day U in the spring with coverage on OU men's and women's teams as well as national men's and women's basketball. The Indianapolis Colts defense showed why they are arguably the best in the NFL last night in the Colts' 34-17 win over the Tennessee Titans. The Titans put up those 17 points in the first half and never sniffed the end zone again.
For Indy on offense, rookie wideout Michael Pittman Jr. had a standout performance, nabbing 7 catches for 101 yards. Now looking forward in Week 10, we're seeing things really heat up across the NFL.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say your game to watch involves an unbeaten team.
Hey, listen, 8-0 sounds pretty good, so what can I say? The Pittsburgh Steelers are back at Heinz Field on Sunday as they face a divisional rival in the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I'll be real for a second and say that the Steelers are unbeaten, but not unbeatable. Pittsburgh needs to see a top-notch performance on defense to offset the arm of Joe Burrow. However, if the Bengals score an early lead like the Cowboys did, there could be trouble. That one kicks off at 3:25 on Fox.
A couple of MVP candidates square off on CBS this Sunday. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals host Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Both teams come off close games, with the Bills beating the Seahawks 44-34 and the Cardinals barely falling to the Dolphins 34-31. Expect a lot of offense. Both teams could climb beyond the 30-point mark when they kick off at 3 p.m.
And in honor of it being Masters Week, we throw it back to a legendary storyline from last year.
A Wisconsin man bet $85,000 on Tiger Woods winning the 2019 Masters tournament, and a huge $1.19 million payout came his way.
Now, nearly everyone around the golf community thought seeing that kind of money down on a player who hadn't won a major in 11 years was kind of insane.
But Tiger knew more than we did.
He did.
Tiger, what do you think about the guy that bet $85,000 for you to win the Masters?
Great bet.
Well, unfortunately, this is the last time you'll see my pretty face this semester, but luckily you can catch Dylan back here on Monday.
Yes, this is our last Big Friday Sports, so from all of us, the crew, our producer Sydney, thank you for watching.
Until 2021, signing off, I'm Sofia Olivas.
And I'm Dylan Rivera. Good night.